Tonight, conflict with Iran, the US and Israel widens, with defence forces across the region and Europe on high alert. Also, more than 100,000 Australians stuck in travel limbo across Gulf states. A freshwater crocodile relocated by reptile wranglers after being spotted near a Newcastle Bunnings store. And an Australian pop princess to fly the flag at Eurovision. I'm Richelle Plesse. This is SBS World News. Good evening. We begin with developments tonight across the Middle East and Europe. The widening conflict has prompted defence forces across the region and parts of southern Europe to be on high alert. In Iran, new data from the country's Red Crescent branch says 555 people have been killed by the US and Israeli strikes. This as the US and Israel pledge to ramp up attacks on Iran in the coming days. Israel's military says it's carrying out simultaneous strikes against Hezbollah targets in Lebanon too. Our chief international correspondent, Ben Lewis, is in Tel Aviv with the latest.
Well, in the early hours of this morning, Hezbollah fired a small number of rockets into northern Israel. The Iranian-backed group says it was in retaliation for the death of Iran's supreme leader. Now, not surprisingly, Israel has responded with overwhelming force, conducting airstrikes not only in the south of Lebanon, but also in the suburbs of Beirut, particularly the southern suburbs. And that is a stronghold for Hezbollah. It's believed it's where many of its leaders reside. The Lebanese government had been begging Hezbollah not to get involved in this conflict, knowing that there would be a huge cost to the civilian population, and already there has been. The Lebanese Health Ministry says at least 31 people have been killed, more than 150 injured, and those numbers are expected to rise.
Our chief international correspondent, Ben Lewis, reporting there from Tel Aviv. Meanwhile, several US military aircraft have crashed in Kuwait. Vision shows an F-15E fighter jet spiralling to the ground near a US airbase. Kuwaiti authorities say all crew members survived and were in a stable condition in hospital. Smoke tonight has also been seen over the area surrounding the US embassy in Kuwait. A series of loud explosions has once again been heard in Dubai in the United Arab Emirates. Authorities say notifications have gone out to some Dubai residents telling them to seek safety immediately. Reporter John Gambrell is in Dubai with the latest.
Behind me here is Dubai Marina. That's one of the tallest residential blocks on Earth, and it's Monday in the United Arab Emirates. Typically, this is the start of the working week, but roads and highways are devoid of traffic. That's because the government has told people to stay home, remain indoors, because there's still these interceptions of Iranian drones and missiles targeting this nation of 9 million people. Now, already, this is war, which was started by the Americans and the Israelis bombing Iran, has spread across the wider Gulf Cooperation Council, including the United Arab Emirates, and even here in Dubai, which long has been considered a safe corner of the Middle East to do business, for tourists to visit. This war has come and it's disrupted life as we know it.
John Gambrell reporting from Dubai there. Also tonight, the International Atomic Energy Agency has held a meeting of its board of governors in Vienna. Iran's ambassador to the UN nuclear watchdog confirmed the country's nuclear facility at Natanz was struck by US and Israeli strikes. Reporter Stephanie Lichtenstein is in Austria.
The UN Nuclear Watchdog Board is convening an urgent session in Vienna at the request of Russia to address the situation in Iran. The meeting comes amid spiraling tensions in the Middle East after the United States and Israel targeted multiple sites across Iran, dropping massive bombs on missile sites as well as political and intelligence targets.
Only in one case, they completely destroyed an elementary school, killing at least 165-year students. This is the so-called help and freedom that the US President had promised to Iranians. Again, they attacked Iran's peaceful, safeguarded nuclear facilities yesterday. Their justification that Iran wants to develop nuclear weapons is simply a big lie. They martyred our supreme leader, who was the only Muslim scholar completely prohibiting nuclear weapons. Iran's great nation is united and determined to resolutely and vigorously defend its country.
Iran has retaliated by firing missiles at Israel as well as Arab Gulf states. Now, the International Atomic Energy Agency here in Vienna has repeatedly called for restraint, given the many nuclear assets and nuclear facilities in Iran, in order to avoid nuclear safety risks for the many people in the region.
Stephanie Lichtenstein with that report from Vienna. The Foreign Minister says around 115,000 Australians are currently in the Middle East as airspace remains closed. But Penny Wong would not confirm whether the government would be able to facilitate repatriation flights for those stranded in the region. Virgin Australia has today cancelled at least 6 flights to Qatar's capital, while Qantas says there's currently no impact to its operations.
I'm actually so scared. I'm in JDC right now.
Australians across much of the Middle East and across social media in shock as they document a war unfolding.
This is from my hotel balcony.
Penny Milton is one of those currently in the region. The wife of 6-time Paralympian Michael Milton was supposed to fly from Doha to Venice to support him in the upcoming Milano Cortina Paralympics. But then her flight was redirected back to Doha and she received this missile alert. Then another as we started to speak.
Hang on a second, just going to interrupt for a second because we're getting a missile alert. Okay.
Is everything okay?
That's the first missile alert we've had in probably over 24 hours, and I'm on the 27th floor and my kids are downstairs having breakfast.
With tickets for herself and her children cancelled, she has many questions unanswered, including how long she'll be at her hotel in Doha. There are airspace closures around the Gulf states, including Iran, Iraq, Israel, the UAE and Qatar. Major airlines also restricting flights. The chaos also disrupting travellers trying to visit Australia.
We don't know yet how things will proceed. We want to go to Australia, to Brisbane, and we'd have to fly via Dubai.
Penny Milton says she's trying to stay optimistic.
We're just focusing on getting a flight to Europe. We really are in danger at this point, but if we are in danger, then I would expect the Australian government to step in.
But the Foreign Minister unable to confirm repatriation flights with airspace closed.
The best way to get them home would be for commercial flights to return. I have today asked the Department of Foreign Affairs to ensure that our registration process is opened to people in the UAE and Qatar.
The peak travel industry body says around 11,000 Australians are impacted by travel disruptions, urging people not to cancel their flights yet until seeking advice.
Allow the airline to work through what those arrangements are, and if they cancel that flight, you will be eligible for a full refund or being rebooked free of charge as those services commence.
But there's concern for insurance claims as a declaration of war is unlikely to be covered.
They're very large events and they're almost impossible to be able to price. Without those exclusions, events like this could potentially drain insurance pools overnight.
The travel industry says the number of Australians impacted by travel disruptions is set to increase by up to 8,000 in the next 12 hours. Yusuf Saudi, SBS World News.
Coming up after the break, an oil tanker seized, suspected of being part of Russia's so-called shadow fleet in the North Sea.
On Insight, high on immigration.
I'm not anti-migrant, but at the moment I'm anti-migration.
I have to work extra hard to prove myself.
Migration is part of the solution as well as part of the problem.
What's behind one of Australia's most divisive issues?
I want affordable housing. People are getting pushed out of paradise.
Migrants come to this country, they add something to this country and they learn something from this country.
I'm as Aussie as Vegemite.
Insight returns tomorrow 8:30 on SBS and on demand.
You know, McRob, the founder of Old Gold. He bargained his way across crop-infested waters, not far from here.
That didn't happen.
Just telling you how I heard it.
Old Gold. Rich in character.
If life's a journey, why not enjoy the ride? Take a back seat. Let someone else do the driving. Enjoy a moment together, or a moment to yourself. Watch the world go by and relax. Take it easy. Take the time to listen, to see, to smile. There are more than 365 destinations, but we're all about the journey. New South Wales Trainlink will take you there. Search New South Wales Trainlink and book your ticket today.
Play house with all new Woolworths Bricks Home. And right now, get a bonus bricks pack when you buy participating products from Dove or Omo in a $30 shop. Shop now at Woolworths.
This is Bruce, a baby name that has fallen out of the top 10 of late. But Bruce doesn't really care.
I don't really care.
He's been careful with money and raised 4 wonderful kids. One day, they may even appreciate him.
Ha!
Bruce may be retired.
But my brain isn't.
That's why he's switched to everyday comprehensive car insurance from Woolworths. He gets quality cover for his beloved Chariot and
10% off a Woolies shop every month. This thing, it's always on.
Make your insurance count. Make every day count.
One of the most powerful earthquakes ever recorded has struck Japan.
The Japanese nuclear managers are in a full-scale panic. I didn't know they were going to be headed for a meltdown in less than 24 hours. It felt like the end of the world.
15 years on, a collection of commemorative documentaries. Focus on Fukushima, Friday 8:30 on SBS.
The federal government has continued to dodge questions on whether the US and Israel's strikes on Iran were illegal under international law. The opposition has praised the military action, but legal experts have raised concerns about Australia's position in upholding the rules-based order.
A spiralling conflict in the Middle East unravels in a war of words in the Senate.
And on that basis, I move that the motion be now put.
Two polarised political sides, the Greens and Coalition, teaming up to allow a debate on the military campaign, sorely received by the Foreign Minister.
They will do anything in order to engage in a political stunt.
We need to be able to acknowledge the moral clarity shown by the United States and the State of Israel in confronting the threat posed, not just in Iran but globally.
And you come here and you peddle this nonsense that somehow this is about some positive regime change, just like the US's endless forever war in Iraq was meant to be about positive regime change.
The government repeating its position. It played no part in assisting the US and wasn't kept in the loop ahead of the strikes that killed Ayatollah Ali Khamenei.
They're the two countries who are involved here. We're not involved. And as such, we wouldn't expect to be advised.
We support the US acting to prevent Iran from obtaining a nuclear weapon and to prevent Iran from continuing to threaten international peace and security.
The coalition congratulatory of the US and Israel, not opposed to Australia lending its hand.
If the government is requested by the United States to assist, and it is found to be in our national interest, I see no reason why it wouldn't have the support of the coalition.
Beyond the political rhetoric, there is concern from legal experts over Australia's role in upholding the rules-based order. Middle powers like Australia, they say, could be complicit in breaching international law if they provide support to the US and fail to hold other states accountable.
Unfortunately, what we've seen now is an absolute double standards where Western states are refusing to call out violations of the law when it comes to what they consider to be their allies.
The consequences of this war and how the country positions itself a concern for the crossbench.
I'm incredibly concerned that the actions of the US under President Trump set a precedent that may well be copied by other major nations.
Everybody is focused on the Middle East. Start focusing on what happens in this nation and how we manage the problems that are coming our way.
In the short term, that could be a dramatic surge in petrol prices. Long term, the possible upending of the current world order. Rayanne Tamer, SBS World News.
2 people have been killed after a shooting at a bar in Austin, Texas, in the United States. The FBI has said they are investigating the incident as a potential act of terrorism due to what they called indicators found on the gunman and in his car. 14 others were critically wounded and taken to hospital. The gunman was shot and killed by police. The body of Reverend Jesse Jackson has travelled home for the last time, returning to South Carolina in the southern United States to lie in state. Jackson died last month, aged 84, after battling a rare neurological disorder that affected his mobility and speech. He was a civil rights hero, campaigning for voting rights, economic justice and racial equality. Venezuela's opposition leader says she plans to return to the South American country within a few weeks. Maria Corina Machado left Venezuela in December to accept a Nobel Peace Prize in Oslo. The 58-year-old later presented her medal to US President Donald Trump and is currently in the United States. Venezuela's interim president, Delcy Rodriguez, has said Machado should have to answer to Venezuela for her support of US military action against Caracas. French and Belgian forces have seized an oil tanker they say is operating as part of the so-called Russian shadow fleet. The network is designed to evade Western sanctions imposed on Russia following its full-scale invasion of Ukraine.
In the dead of night, French helicopters circle this oil tanker, a secret mission targeting Russia's shadow fleet. Belgian special forces descend onto the deck before the vessel is taken to Zeebrugge harbour and confiscated. Belgian prosecutors say it was sailing under a false Guinean flag using fake documents. The ship's captain now being questioned and a criminal investigation underway. Volodymyr Zelensky praising the operation as he called for stronger European laws to confiscate sanctioned vessels. We welcome this strong action against Moscow's floating purse. That purse helping to fund Russia's war in Ukraine. The Kremlin has previously described similar takeovers as an act of piracy. Analysts estimate Russia's shadow fleet has between 1,100 and 1,400 vessels. Almost half are subject to EU sanctions. The rest evading detection using shell companies and false flags. Only a few have been seized, but another disruption is shaking global oil markets.
Attention all ships, this is Sepah Navy, Iran's Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps Navy. From now on, all navigating through the Strait of Hormuz is forbidden.
Around 20% of the world's oil and LNG passes through the Strait of Hormuz, the threat of attacks making the global oil price surge in recent days.
Now the incentive for India to logistically and also operationally to turn to more Russian barrels significantly increases. Now if the conflict drags on for a couple of weeks, the most logical solution for Beijing is going to be to turn into more Russian crude.
A financial boost to Russia's assault on Ukraine. OPEC says it will add 206,000 barrels a day to the market, an attempt to soften the impact. Sarah Conti, SBS World News.
Reptile experts in New South Wales have captured a crocodile seen in a suburban creek in the Hunter region. The freshwater crocodile was first spotted on Saturday, floating in a creek in Newcastle. It was eventually rescued on Sunday night, about 3 kilometres downstream from the initial sighting. Reptile expert Billy Collett, who captured the metre-long crocodile, says it was likely a pet and wouldn't have survived long in the area. Freshwater crocodiles are native to northern Australia. One of Australia's best-selling artists will fly the flag in this year's Eurovision Song Contest in Vienna. Delta Goodrem will take centre stage in a milestone year for the contest, the 70th anniversary event, also navigating controversy.
Do you remember
Over her 3-decade career, Delta Goodrem has sold more than 9 million records, amassed 5 #1 albums and achieved international chart success. Eurovision has long been in her orbit, but now the stars have aligned for one of the country's brightest.
It was signs. There was people were reaching out to me about it, and so I took those signs and saw them and said, all right, I think this is our moment. Let's go to Eurovision.
Hoping to go all the way in Vienna with Eclipse, a cinematic pop piece in the power ballad territory, sprinkled with classical influences. A sound authentically Delta.
You could take it as a love song, you could take it about the timing of love or your time in your own life that aligns when time is meant to be. And
the first moments that you hear the notes of it, you think this is a Eurovision song.
Australia's missed out on the grand final for the past 2 years. The country's selection team hopeful the established pop princess is a safe pair of hands to make a big impact for Eurovision's 70th anniversary.
She's incredibly experienced and professional, and I think also given the climate that's surrounding Eurovision over the past couple of years, having someone like that in the role is a really, really useful thing.
A climate marred in geopolitical controversy. 5 countries have boycotted the competition over Israel's participation. SBS will continue to broadcast the contest, saying as a public broadcaster, making a decision to be involved based on the inclusion or exclusion of any country would undermine SBS's editorial independence and impartiality.
I really focus on what Eurovision stands for. I truly believe in the power of music. It is what speaks to my heart. It's healing, it's hopeful, it's unifying.
A hopeful message Delta Goodrem will carry all the way to Vienna in May. Phoebe Dees, SBS World News.
Coming up, the weather and Japan's bear-scaring wolf robot transformed into a cuddly plushie.
In an SBS special event, join me, Janice Peterson, and a lineup of guests as we discuss how to combat rising division in Australia.
The Social Schism, Wednesday 7:30 on SBS and on demand.
I'm Bear Grylls. 10 days ago, I set out on the journey of a lifetime. Between here and there is a whole world of pain.
That sounds ominous.
Run when you can. God damn it, crawl if you must. It's all about survival. 100% pure adrenaline. Time for the adventure to begin.
The Bear Grylls Collection. Stream free on SBS On Demand.
There's a new national lung cancer screening program. The scan is simple, free, and could save your life.
That's good to know.
Aged 50 to 70 with a history of smoking? Talk to your doctor or visit lungcancerscreen.org.au because it's good to know.
Tired of doing it the hard way? Try Light and Easy. Get 5 days of delicious breakfasts, lunches and dinners for just $99 with your first delivery. And if you don't love it, get your money back. Lose weight the Light and Easy way.
At Coles, wrap it or stack it. With Coles Australian RSPCA approved chicken breast fillet value pack for $8.50 a kilo. Make your midweek meals delicious at Coles.
You don't have to live in the bush to face a bushfire. Ambers travel on the wind and land where you're not prepared. One amber can end it, but it doesn't have to.
Prepare your home today. Visit myfireplan.com.au.
You talk about Ned Kelly, but you also talk about John Friedrich.
What John Friedrich did was build a fantasy with the best toys money could buy.
Where's the money coming from?
One of the wildest stories in Australian modern history.
He was playing cat and mouse. He was a crook. Everything that he did was for the good of everyone.
Did he ever tell you he was a spy?
Well, that got my attention.
What do you mean? He's Australia's most wanted man.
Australia's greatest con man. Stream free on SBS On Demand. What is it about this place that leaves visitors lost for words.
Executions!
Inside the Tower of London. Starts next Monday, 7:30 on SBS and on demand.
Two people have been rescued after a hot air balloon struck a phone tower in the US state of Texas. It took authorities over an hour to conduct the rescue operation. No deaths or injuries have been reported. Well, let's see what else is happening in the sky with the weather forecast. In the major centres, partly cloudy in Brisbane, showers in Sydney and Canberra, grey skies in Hobart and Adelaide, sunny in Perth and showers and a possible storm in Darwin. Looking further afield, thunder in Nundy, clear skies in Noumea and showers in Wellington and Auckland. In Southeast Asia, fine in Bangkok, storms in Kuala Lumpur and rain in Jakarta. Further north, cloudy in Beijing, rain in Tokyo and Taipei, fine in Manila. Heading west, fine in Beirut and Tehran, partly cloudy in Islamabad and windy in New Delhi. To Europe, a few showers in Stockholm, snow in Moscow, partly cloudy in London and Kyiv, some fog in Rome and overcast in Istanbul. In Africa, some cloud in Algiers, fine in Cairo, thunder in Lagos and Nairobi. In South America, partly cloudy in Panama City and Lima, clear skies in Rio and Santiago, and grey skies in Buenos Aires. And for North America, snow in Toronto, fog in San Francisco, showers in Washington and Miami, partly cloudy in Havana, and clear skies in Mexico City. Now, combining kawaii or cuteness with cutting-edge technology, a company in Japan is preparing to launch a cuddly companion to combat rising bear attacks. Born out of a growing necessity in 2025, Japan recorded its highest number of bear attack-related deaths since records began in 2006.
Up close, it's the stuff of nightmares. Since its launch in 2018, Japan's monster wolf robot has been used by farmers and local government areas, primarily to scare off bears, but also wild boars and deer. More than 300 units of the solar-powered robot have been sold across Japan, coinciding with an uptick in black and brown bear attacks and sightings, particularly in the north, but also in central Japan. Last year, 13 people were killed between April and November, the highest number on record, and 230 others injured. Some scientists attributing the attacks to a lack of food and climate change. But with a $5,500 price tag and weighing in at 20 kilograms, the Monster Wolf robot is not the most affordable or portable of devices. The Hokkaido-based company that launched the device is now offering a more transportable, softer alternative that can be carried by camping enthusiasts, hikers and construction companies working in the mountains. Despite its cuddly appearance, it's not to be underestimated. The 20-centimetre long toy is still just as loud as its bigger sibling and can make up to 50 different noises, including gunshots and human voices. Its glowing eyes, meant to mimic the same effect flashing lights can have on triggering an epileptic fit. Its wolf appearance, also deliberate despite being hunted to extinction in Japan in the 18th century, the carnivore still strikes fear in bears to this day. It's set to retail around 10,000 yen or 90 Australian dollars, with an even smaller version reportedly now in the works. Hannah Kwon, SBS World News.
Well, that's the world this Monday. I'm Richelle Harrison-Plesse. Thanks for your company this evening. Good night.
This March, the home of